Hey, party people. There's tons of like sequined and beaded and trimmed sort of looks in the stores right now for the holidays. This is a quality video. This is not a design critique video. If you want a design critique video where I just go around stores and snap photos of clothes and critique them, let me know in the comments. But I went to a Nordstrom and I went to an H&M. You know, Nordstrom because you have like a big wide range of prices, and then H&M for the fast fashion stuff. And yeah, let's look at some of this stuff. This is Free People. And this is what it looked like when I first approached the hanger. And the issue is, stuff like this really shouldn't be hung, first of all. Like any sort of heavy knit should not be hung at all because it'll stretch out the shoulders. It'll kind of like start pulling. The weight of it will start pulling. So this is what it looks like. And because it's been sitting like that, when I tried to correct it on the hanger, all this is like now stretching. And maybe it'll come together with a good steaming, but these tiny little plastic discs might melt if your iron is too hot. So you got to be careful about that too. Okay. Personally, I would not press anything with any sort of embellishment on it without a pressing cloth. And I typically use a big piece of organza for it because it's a light layer of fabric to protect whatever fabric you're pressing, but also it's see-through. It's see-through, so you can see what the heck is going on that you're pressing, right? This collar makes me so mad. It's just a tiny narrow edge, but it's basically a narrow overlock. And it's so ugly. And not only that, like when I see overlock on the inside of clothes, I don't automatically dismiss that as bad. There's a lot of overlock out there that's like really neat, very well sewn, tight stitches, no weird like clumps and chunk. This is not it. Okay. Overlock on the inside of clothes, if it's well done and it's at a moderate price point, fine. But this, with all this stretching, this is terrible. Okay. It's all of this all stretched out. Who's buying that? $88. Who's paying $88 for this neckline? My husband, the hand model. Okay. So the bottom is the same. Okay. With this overlocking. Not a good time. Here's the thing that I wanted to show you. Do you see how it's stitched so that the seam allowance goes towards one side? Which, listen, if you're overlocking, yeah, you should totally do that. And then the top also is overlocked where the seam is going on one side. However, it's been pressed so that it keeps going to the other side, okay? Like, my husband is not doing anything weird to manipulate that. It's just been pressed so the seam is on the other side. Like, what? This is also Free People, and it's just this corner. What? What in the poorly sewn? Like, this is fine, and then it just, like, that's not any better. They look completely different from one another, actually. They should be identical. Oh, they are. Okay. So, this, okay. So, what should be happening is a neat meeting of bias binding like that. And then this one it didn't line up, and then it hopped the fence. Whoa. Okay. And by okay, I mean no. Not for $168, no. Look at this cuff. What is happening here? Okay, what they're trying to do, so they have the bias binding And that's the rest of the cuff is here. And then the house placket comes up like that. The stitches don't go all the way down. This double tacking is really nasty. What even is that? And then this is messy. Like, if it was just very cleanly, like the intent is fine. This, like, it's angled like this, you know, and the top part is stitched down. I would have done a double needle like that to kind of mimic the binding, you know, but it's just executed so poorly. Look at that. I'm not paying $168 for that. My problem with this is it just flapped right open at the side seam. It's $47.99. But, and like, look at this. When you look at these, the Topshop tops, it's just so messy. I really feel like they could have picked a better color for the mesh interior. Something that is way more subtle, closer to the brown, so that it all kind of like, if you see any errors, they're hidden a little bit better, first of all. So this is more in the price bracket of that Topshop. However, it's like a sequin halter top, a sequin knit halter top, and the front is lined, which is nice because, you know, it's hard to find a bra to work with that. So you want that extra kind of lining in the front. It's got that rubbery, you know, those strips of kind of rubber along the back and sides, along the top. So once you kind of like set it in place, it doesn't move and shimmy, which is great because it's almost backless. And then the bias binding around the edge of the zipper. Okay. Not perfect, but really good for $65. Look at this one. This is the Nordstrom BP Brass Plum. Okay, so this is very moderate price point. Where's the side seam? You can't see it because the sequins, they're sewn and they're kind of shimmied and you can't see it. And I didn't do any artful styling. Okay, I don't work for Nordstrom. I didn't smooth it over with my hand. I just pulled it up and opened it kind of where the side seam was, and the sequins just kind of fell into place. So you can't see distinctly, you know, there it is. Okay, once we pull it this close to us, then we could tell where the side seam is, but you can't really find that line like you could with the other. This is a more scattered sequin layout, whereas the other one is in more rows. But if you do not have the resources to sew well enough to prevent this, pick the scatter. Or if you know that your sequins are in rows, then you just got to keep everything into a straight line. This is a side seam. Maybe you have a boxy tank so that it's just a straight line, okay, something. Always, you know, the reason why I always push you all designers to study more fabrics is understanding your fabric and how it works with your ultimate design can take you so far. So far wrong and so far right, okay? Like, this I liked. This is an AllSaints, and for $300, it better look nice. Look at this. It was folded down, and then there's like a bias binding that's been sewn on top, and it's made out of a sheer material so that it's not super heavy, okay? Because the top fabric is somewhat sheer. Like, you can put your hand under it, and you can't really see how many fingers I'm holding up, but you could tell my hand is under there. And then you have a loose lining, a mesh lining underneath, so it's more opaque when you're under both layers, but it's nice and light and thin because sequins don't breathe, and so it can get kind of sweaty. So you have all these light shimmying layers, and then this is hemmed well. Like that's nice. That's nice. You know, this is just a fold. It's not part of the construction. It just got folded, I guess, from somebody trying it on or whatever. But rib knit collar, not some weird flimsy overlock or even like a cheap fold over, but like a proper rib knit collar. Okay, $300, has nice finishing touches. This is a different AllSaints, and I took a little video of myself kind of running my hand, not super aggressively, but firmly enough. And the beads do not feel like they're going to fall off. They're well sewn on. Let's play that again. Yeah, they don't move around. They don't shimmy. They are sewn down. This is a lace coat, and there's no lining. It's a decorative coat. It comes with a little black slip dress that I kind of largely ignored. It's a black slip dress, whatever. And this is $650. And the lace is very sturdy. It's on the stiffer side. It's full-bodied. It's not flimsy at all, so it has enough structure to make a coat. And then it has this beautiful placket sewn underneath the lace. And the buttons are done in such a way that they sort of kind of disappear into the jacket. They're not like a feature, okay? The lace is the feature. And so to not detract from that, this button, okay, it just kind of works with the rest of the lace. And then there's also a placket underneath. So you have the structure of the two plackets, but it all comes together. It's very subtle. They use the shape of the lace for the hem. No weird fold up bulkiness there. This is the sleeve. It's about an elbow length sleeve. And so they use the shaping of the lace, full advantage, and cut that. You can tell it's just cut right at the design, and use the cut edge beautifully for the hem and for the hem of the rest of the coat, not just the sleeve. And then you can see how neatly they finished. They finished at an angle. Looks really nice. Finished that placket right above the end of the lace. So that's what that looks like. $650. Better look nice. It's a little pulled away. Here's the collar. It's like turned down, and you can see there's bias binding underneath for a little structure. But the whole lace is very crisp and full-bodied. It's not really flimsy. And that bias binding is going to be enough for it to like lay. Okay. Structurally, very nice. Okay, first of all, I shimmied this. Decently secure. But, okay, a couple of things. Due to the delicate nature of this garment, please treat gently and remove jewelry before dressing, s'il vous plaît. Okay? Very nice. Okay? This is something, you know, you're worried about your customers, people trying things on, and you want them to be a little bit gentle. There's a classy way of just being like, hi, look at these beautiful embellishments we added here. Can you please be nice? Thank you. And then this envelope is actually fat, full of extra paillettes. I keep wanting to say paillettes, but it's paillettes, okay? It's full of extra paillettes that someone can stitch back on should some fall off. But this was like a really fat envelope. It had plenty in there. So this is a Zimmermann dress, and again, you cannot see the seam. I promise you, the underarm seam, okay, my husband's holding out the sleeve, it's in there. But you can't see it because it was sewn properly. After we were at Nordstrom and having a good time looking at pretty things, and I checked out the Dries Van Noten section. It was so beautiful, and I didn't take any pictures because nothing was wrong with them. Oh, anyway, so then we walked down the street to H&M, and I'm like, and listen, it's not a design critique, okay? This is kind of one of those things that kind of straddle garment construction quality and design, where when you have like a threadbare design like this, it just looks cheap, okay? Essentially, there's nothing wrong with the way these are sewn down or anything. It just looks cheap because there's just like a few anemic dangles. It just looks very sad. It's a sad design. When I see this kind of thing, where they were folded for a long time, compressed into plastic bags, and they were shoved into boxes so tightly so that they could fit as many freaking dresses in a box as possible. Barely shake them out to put them on. This, when you see this in a store, and I don't care how expensive the garments are in that store, when you see this kind of thing, where they didn't press things out, they didn't ship things hung or anything, or even ship them flat, because you could flat pack them. It's a shift dress. You go flat pack them, okay? This really shows you that they are only interested in doing the bare minimum. These pants, okay, these are the pants I posted on Instagram. Look at what is happening here. This ugly stitching, and then this, and then, so this stitching went here, and then it just stopped. And they're like, oopsies. And then they started again over here. And then they went, bloop. Somebody was like, hey, dude. And then they were like, bleh. And then they changed the stitch length. What is that? Oh my God, what is that? Or maybe it's coming from the other side where it comes around and around, and they're like, do. And then they're like, oh shit, this is the wrong stitch length. Oh, let's make the stitch size smaller for the last itch. The white on white H&M label, I don't know if that is like a holiday thing they're doing, or because I thought it was red, the H&M red, or maybe I'm just thinking of the signs on the outside of the store. But this white on white, this like really sad attempt to make their brand look a little bit more incognito if someone sees a flash of the inside, is hilarious. Look how poorly stitched this tag is. When you look at the outside, okay, and you see these other, do you see how some of the elastic is showing on the top? What in the hell? If you wanted to do a knit pant with an elastic waist, you gotta put it in some kind of channel, okay? You gotta like, cross section, okay? This is the front of your pant leg, and the fabric, you need to have enough fabric to go up and fold down, okay? And then you have however wide of an elastic you want, depending on the construction of your whole pant. You have, this is a 2-inch elastic, and then you will sew the channel, okay? You'll stitch this, okay? You'll finish this edge, very neat overlock, little bias binding. You finish this edge, you top stitch them together and sandwich that elastic in there. It's not complicated to make a simple, very simple waistband channel for an elastic. Of course, there are more complicated, more beautiful, more, more structurally sound ways to do this. But even this like very simple, just have enough fabric to fold down over, cover the elastic, finish the edge, and stitch it together is 100 times better, cleaner, stronger. You're trying to hold up these like sequined knit pants. You want to have some strength up in that waist to hold those pants up. This shirt, okay, first of all, the ironing. Like, that's not even the way it was packed. It's just so wrinkled. It's so wrinkled. This is not even symmetrical. This is not even artful asymmetry. This is something that I will give money to whoever that it was supposed to be symmetrical. This is this is like almost 2/3 over here. That is just wackadoo. This one is kind of close to symmetrical. Okay? It's still asymmetrical, but it's kinda. Okay? I don't understand why this is zigzag. Zigzag looks extremely amateur. Is that a design critique? I don't know. I don't know why you didn't just bias bind on the inside, and then you would have like a single line of top stitching on the outside. That would look 100 times classier. Even if you overlocked the edge, folded it over, and then just did, without the bias binding, like one row of top stitching, that would have looked classier. This is a pattern making issue. And believe you me, I tried fixing this collar. This is not about it's sitting on the hanger wrong. This whole rippling, like this is okay, you know? It's probably pulling because of all of this. They all look like that. And then the back, do you see how you're not supposed to see the underside of that, okay? Your undercollar should be, in the pattern, drafted smaller so that when your collar sits like that, you do, of course, see this 1/4 inch seam, top stitching, but you shouldn't see all of this, okay? The undercollar should be cut smaller. My guess is they didn't bother with that kind of pattern drafting and just used the same top collar and undercollar pattern piece. And here's the thing is, here's your collar stand and the top part rolls over, right? And then the undercollar also rolls over. But since this and this are the same length, same width, then this is going to want to stick out more, okay? And that's why you're seeing the underneath of that. And when you decide, oh, how much smaller does the undercollar need to be, you need to figure out what fabric you're using. That's why you need to pick your fabrics first so that your pattern maker knows, oh, I have to make this a lot smaller because this is a fat fabric. First of all, this stitching, not only is it so uneven, but especially here and here, the fur is caught in the rows of stitching. On this side, we have a 1/8 to a 1/16 to an 1/8. And then on this side, we have a 1/4 to an 1/8. Double needle. What is that? Front and center. There are places where you can hide some lesser, finely tuned qualities. Like, not a lot of people are looking in your armpit, especially the inside armpit. But front and center, right at the neck, under your chin, when human psychology has us looking at people's faces as one of the first things people look at, unless there's something very distracting. Questions, comments, drop them below. Video requests, also drop them below. Let me know if you want me to do more of these clothing quality videos, if you want me to do design critique videos, all that good stuff. Give me a thumbs up if you learned something new today, and I will see you in the next video.